Competitive EDH is one of the most challenging formats in Magic, but how do you actually break through the noise and become a top-tier player? In today's video, we brought on one of the best in the game, the Mardu Mensch, the Dardu King, Hebrew Hercules, also known as Kellen Cuen. Together, we're diving deep into the mindset, strategies, and habits that separate the best from the rest. Also, make sure to stick around until the end of the video to see how you can win a free deck from Liquid Luck.
People like cold opens, right? That's like the podcasting thing to do, right?
Yeah,
That's
the cool thing is like, oh, keep all the bloopers.
So quirky.
Yeah,
So cute.
so cute.
We're definitely going to be that kind of channel.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
All right, welcome everyone. This is Bite-Sized MTG, Bite-Sized Magic. I'm Zachary Adler, also known as Snack on Discord. We're here to share new perspectives on cEDH and just create better ways of playing. With me, I have one of my members, crewmates, co-hosts, whatever you might call him. This is Jared Baumgartner. Baumgartner. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone what you do?
I'm Jared. I go by JB Gartner on Discord because Baumgartner is hard to say, and in some places, Jared's also kind of hard to say, so you can call me Jared or JB. Yeah, I'm just a cEDH nerd that likes playing with Zach and the other San Diego boys. We just jam games all the time, and I also like math. So, yeah, there I am.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. And then joining us today as a guest, we have Kellen Cuen. Cuen? Okay.
Yeah.
Close it up.
Yeah,
Kellen Cuen.
yeah.
Also known as Hebrew Hercules. So thanks for coming on the show. You want to tell everyone kind of who you are and what you're known for in the space?
Yeah, my name's Kellen. I also go by Hebrew Hercules on Top Deck. I'm known for playing Dargo Timna and doing okay with that. And I also help out a lot with the Dargo Discord, like just facilitating discussions and stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember you in your Malcolm Bruce days. Pirates of America.
Oh my gosh, I still love that deck. I want to make it work so bad, but it's
so cool though.
Yeah. But we're bringing that into Dargo, a little bit of that tech. So.
Ooh, hell yeah! I would love to hear what kind of tech that's going to be. I mean, I've already seen some of it, right? Like with the Facebreaker stuff and like.
No, we're talking Pyre of Heroes.
Oh, Pyre of Heroes.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jared was telling me about this a little while ago. Like, he was just hitting me up on Discord, and he's like, I think Pyre of Heroes might be really, really good. And I was like...
Yeah, as soon as I saw Kellen trying it, I went and started to analyze it immediately, because I love, like, pod lines and stuff like that in decks, and so the fact that it's a pseudo pod line that can make certain key pieces uncounterable is incredibly relevant, and I think it's super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we just looked, like, when I first started testing it, I was like... I've always loved pod stuff. I always loved that stuff. And I was like, how many cards would I actually need to cut for this card, one card? I'm like, almost nothing. And I'm like, okay, looks like we're testing it. And then JB comes around and he's like, actually, here's the math. Here's actually how to do it. I'm like, oh, shit, this is good.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's so cool. Uncountable Grand Abolisher is pretty good.
Hot take. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I didn't even introduce what we're going to be talking about today, but... It's going to be kind of a framework about learning in cEDH, having good practice versus bad practice, and if you're interested in coaching, what you might want to be looking for when you find a good coach. And this perspective is varied. I have zero experience in the coaching and teaching space. I am just a baby, so I don't have a huge teaching background. Kellen, on the other hand, has a PhD in teaching. If that's correct.
Oh, gosh, I wish. I do have a master's in teaching, and I've been a coach for over 12 years in wrestling. I've also been a teacher coach, which means I would observe and look at teachers and teach them how to teach. So,
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then, Jared, you have some background in coaching as well, right?
Yeah, I was a swim coach, for years, teaching people from preschool age all the way to adults as well. And then I worked for a time at a school for children with extreme behaviors, so I'm used to working with people that are very difficult to teach. Yeah, that's pretty much the extent of my background, and one of the things I'm really passionate about with the teaching space is making personalized learning plans for each individual. The ability to tailor an individual plan to somebody, I think is extremely valuable and can really help somebody who's struggling to go to the next level and get over some type of slump.
I couldn't agree more. I've been getting approached quite a bit for coaching of my own, so people are interested in getting coaching from me, and I've really taken it to the point where I'm doing a ton of work in the pre-coaching space to where I can formulate plans about that person. So like taking information about what they want to know in the coaching session. Like I really want to get to know them as a player and their goals and what they're looking for, and then take out of that coaching session something that's actionable. And I actually learned that from Kellen, because he was like, giving people something to work on is really, really important. So that's been a huge help for me personally. But the first kind of like things I wanted to jump into is, we've all played casual EDH. For you guys, how has learning in cEDH been a different experience than learning in casual EDH?
Yeah, so I came to cEDH from casual originally, and I think the aims are different. In casual, the main emphasis is you being able to do your thing because cards are fun and what's interesting to you. So you want your game plan to be enacted in a way that's cool and awesome. And I never really been coached for casual EDH for this reason, because it's all based on the individual. It's casual. Like, the point of coaching is to improve at something. And for me, if I'm doing something casually, then I'm doing it just that. I'm doing it not necessarily to improve my gameplay or get super into it. It's just something like a pastime, right? I think the shift for CD, like, at least that's for casual, but then the shift for cEDH for me anyway is, the goal is to perform well. It's to perform as best as possible. It's the opposite of casual. And so for me, I've thought about receiving coaching because I do think there's some things that I'm weak in. But of course it costs money, number one. And number two, I think I'm fortunate enough to be in an environment where I'm surrounded by a community of very, very strong players. And I think we help each other out because we all have our own strengths and weaknesses. I think San Diego is just one of those places. But if you don't have an access to that community where you are, I can definitely see how a formal coaching session or a plan would really help somebody out that's trying to go to these tournaments and try to travel and trying to do well and get into the space, especially with the online scene, which I've never felt the need to play in because I have so many awesome people near me. So yeah, you guys have played online though, right? Like you guys have been involved in that space. So we live in a world now where wherever you are, you can play good cEDH, you know?
Yeah, I think just to piggyback off that from the casual perspective, where, like, when you're thinking about casual, you're thinking about what goofy cards do fun things that I want to do, and it really doesn't matter about how efficiently it doesn't. You're just trying to do one thing for fun, and you're trying to do your thing, and everyone's trying to do their thing at the table, and to not let other people do their thing is kind of taboo. And you're also looking at that. You're also looking at things like, oh, is this the best way to interact with the table right now? Or and you don't think about that in casual. You're just like, I want to do my thing. We're just all kind of in the same room playing. Whereas cEDH, it's like, as you said, there's a purpose. We're trying to do the game of Magic, of Commander, as efficiently as possible, but still in the same context, do what you want to do. So like, it allows us to have our own personality in our decks in cEDH, but you have to do it. Not have to, but the goal is to do it as efficiently as you want. So, like, I'll talk to people about going from casual to cEDH, and they'll go, but I want to play, like, Mono Red Urabrask. Like, people tell me I can't do that. Well, I don't know who's telling you that. Just make it as efficient as possible. Just add the fast mana and do this, and you can do it. Like, that's fine. Whereas in casual, it's almost like, you can do your thing as long as it doesn't affect me. Where it's like, you cast a lot of... Yeah, or it's too powerful. Yeah. Like, that's too good. Like, okay, well, I don't want to worry about that anymore. Like we're all at the same place. There's no rule zero. Like, we're just here to be the best we can be at this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think cEDH does reflect a lot of the casual aspects still, just in that I feel like people will get angry when you interact with them before they think they're the threat, or even when they do think they're the threat. We have local players who like are putting wins on the stack, and I'm countering them, and they're getting angry at me. And they're like, "Why are you countering my time sieve with my Tivit out?" And it's like, well, because you're winning the game right now.
Yeah.
So I do see a little bit of carryover from sort of the casual way of playing, and that's because cEDH is at its core still EDH, just at the highest level we can play it. And there's pluses and negatives to that for sure, but I think the more we play, and overall the general zeitgeist I experience is one that people really understand why you're doing things. There's not a lot of spite plays. It's a lot of logic-based reasoning and like looking ahead. And I often find, the common sentiment is, people are not as salty in cEDH as they are in casual. And I think that might just be because we're all playing at an agreed set of power with the similar goal, and there's not, as many things getting in the way that are causing unnecessary, like, salt, for example.
Yeah, I think just the salt comes from a different area, right? So like you're talking about casual,
Yeah.
where it's like, don't stop me from doing my thing. That's rude. It's like, well, no, in CDH we agree that that's something you should be doing to try and win the game. So if your purpose for doing something is, no, I'm doing it strictly to try and win, we all kind of understand that that's okay. But if you are doing salt plays in casual, I felt like it's not as bad because it doesn't affect the overall forward progression. It just maybe removes one thing, but removing one key piece in CDH is a lot.
Yeah.
So, like, the salt just comes from different areas. But I do agree with you. Like, there's a lot less salt in cEDH that I've experienced, at least.
That's what drove me to the format, honestly. I don't know if that same is true for y'all, but like I feel like when the goals are more well defined and there's a focus on high EV play, like doing the game actions that'll increase your chances of winning or your equity in the long run. Those types of things, to me, are what makes cEDH really great. Because to me, a lot of the salt in casual came when people were making negative EV plays or things that weren't good for them in the long run, just because, and for no other reason, like just because it's for, and that to me, not having a good reason to do something outside of because I want to, and I want to play the game that I want to play. Like to me, I'm like, okay, but like, what's your objective? Like, is your objective just to be able to do chaotic random stuff? Because that's cool in its own right. But like, why is it that what I'm trying to do, what I want to do, I'm not allowed to do that? And so I feel like the salt in cEDH more so comes on when people double down on like a play they're making that is negative EV. Like I get really upset sometimes at people when they're acting out of emotion and not in their own best interest, but are just doing it to be spiteful. That's where the salt comes in. Whereas when you're spiteful and casual, it's almost part of the fun. Yeah, and so I like playing both formats for different reasons. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because it's fun to be spiteful sometimes, but not when you're trying to get better at a game, It doesn't help you for your learning process, yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of politics in cEDH is actually just like learning how to redirect people's emotional decisions into grounded logic-based decisions. Like it's so much reframing and nudging, and like someone might be doing something and you're like, that's fine. Like you're welcome to do whatever you want to do, but just take these few things into mind while you're doing that play. Like we're gonna lose to this, or this is gonna get out of hand, and like just because they bowmastered your Esper Sentinel or whatever doesn't mean you have to throw the game based on that one play. Yeah, I find a lot of politics in cEDH is really just taking people's emotions, listening to them, validating them, and then also explaining them in a less emotionally charged way, so that we can all make plays that are logically based. So the next kind of question that I want to frame is there's a difference between jamming games of cEDH and really working on structured improvement. This is the difference between just running your head into a brick wall with the same deck and not learning from things versus looking at what cards are in your deck, why they're in your deck, how they're improving your game plan, what's detracting from your game plan, what plays you're making that are helping you versus hurting you. How do you guys do this in all your games, or is this sort of like a structured thing where you're like, all right, I'm just going to grind some games, I'm playing, I'm having fun, and now I'm going to go into like, let's, do some theory crafting and think about the deck and the decisions and political actions I'm taking?
I'm going to relate a lot of what we're doing here to either teaching or lifting, because it's just two things I've done. Games with cEDH is a lot like working out in a gym, right? You can pick up weights and move them around and do stuff and like just be like, I'm going to come into the gym, I'm going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, blah, 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 like, well, whatever. And will your body get stronger? Yes, undoubtedly it will. But if you have a program, right, that's structured and said, on this day I'm doing this lifts, this amount of times, this weight based on percentages, this, 4 times a week, yada yada, are you going to get stronger faster, Are you going to see results faster? 100%, right? There's no way that you could go in with a structure, especially with what people have already decided is this is what's going to work, and then doing that is going to be better than just going in and being like, meh, meh, meh. But but there is a place for that though. There are those rest weeks where you just want to be like, dude, I just want to jam like a cool like my Malcolm Bruce deck. Like they ain't gonna be good,
Right.
but like it's fun.
For
like, it's
sure,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, but like can you still learn from those games? Oh, absolutely, right. There's always gonna be times you can learn. If you're not learning in every game in some way, shape, or form, maybe that's just a mentality thing. But yeah, structured times like you do your warm up with like your fun deck and cards you want to test, and then if you're preparing for a tournament, you go, okay, no, like you tell people like this is serious time. Like I clean plays, no takesies, backsies, no nothing like that. Like we're grinding right now.
Yep.
Yeah. You have to learn when to turn the sweaty on and off, right? Like there's some times where you want to turn the sweat off and just jam and have a good time and I think that's where you get into the intersection of casual and cEDH, where some people want to play cEDH casually, so they want to play the most busted optimized version of their deck, but they don't really take any interest in optimizing their own gameplay or getting better or really analyzing what they're doing wrong, or I guess suboptimally, right, in order to improve. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think everybody's meant to be like a tournament grinder that's going to all these tournaments and thinking about their conversion rates and trying to, get better placings each time. But I think even if you are in that space, which I think all three of us are a lot, it's important to kind of just take a load off sometimes too and just remember that this game is also just fun. Like I know for myself, like if I spend way too much time analyzing, okay, how am I getting better? Where am I making mistakes? I'm just grinding the same deck for like a big event or something. There's times when I genuinely need a break from that. Maybe not a break from Magic, but like a break from that grind stuff. Like even you, Zach, like you were like, I'm gonna play Soul of Thrasios in this tournament because it's fun. I'm getting a little tired of Blue Farm.
It's a top tier deck. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Soul of Thrasios is a sleeper hit.
Yeah.
I just wasn't good enough to win the tournament. That's on me. That's a pilot issue.
The deck's there. The numbers are there, man.
Oh yeah. You failed the deck. The deck didn't fail you.
Exactly.
There's totally nothing wrong with
You're
it.
just not Yugi. That's all it is. It's just
I'm not him. You know.
Well, it's so funny that you say that. Like, what the perfect example of what you're talking about is LobbyCon, right? Is that like literally it is just a bunch of people who are like, hey, you want to casually play some cEDH with like these random cards that I would never play in a tournament? Yeah, I sure would. Like, let's do that. It's a perfect example of that, and they happen at tournaments. So it's like
yes. Yeah, and a lot of people will say like, "Oh, I have more fun at LobbyCon than I did at the tournament," and I totally hear that. The LobbyCon games are you just jam so much, and the fun thing about LobbyCon is you get to play all these different decks. It's like picking up a new toy that you've never played with before, and you're like, "Oh, whoa, this is crazy." And people have decks just for LobbyCon, like you said, like decks they don't actually play in tournaments, but they're like, "Yeah, this is my like." cEDH, I think I played with a guy, I forget his name, but he played Sisay in tournament, and in casual or LobbyCon, he's playing like this Boros, Arabella, just burn style deck, and it was super cool. I was like, this is, a super fun deck to play against or play with, and it makes it more fun to play cEDH. I personally have a trouble turning it off. Like, my fun is playing at the highest level all the time, and that's not like, enforcing pro REL rules, but like I enjoy playing when it's like we're all trying to win this game,
right,
all the time, even when we're playing like weird more casual
yes
lists.
Yeah,
Jared, when we were doing bronzathons, and I had gotten all my bronze wins, and I had still gotten to like the top 4 of a bronze event, and we'd played a couple of games at your house, and it was like, me winning does nothing because I've already gotten my bronze wins, and yet I was not able to be like, take the foot off the gas pedal, which is something I have to work on personally for myself.
Zach's like, what's fun, guys? Winning's fun.
Yeah. Winning the game is actually pretty fun.
Winning the game is fun, and winning fun is funner.
Yeah, exactly.
True. Yeah.
Exactly. Which is valid.
Yeah.
It's still a valid thing. Like that's why we play this format, right? It's because like winning is fun.
Yeah,
straight up, it is.
That's facts.
Getting better is fun too. Improving, like lifting the weights and getting stronger, like you're saying. Like that's to me also part of the fun too.
Agreed.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, like no, I've never once said in a game of like casual or cEDH, be like, man, I wish I wasn't this good. Like, at no point have I ever said that in the gym. I wish I wasn't this strong. Like, no, yes you do. Like, what are you talking about? Yes you do.
Right.
but but to see that, like, that's part of the structure versus the casual, right? So if I'm just going around throwing around some weight, I don't see the progress. If you chart your stuff and you're recording, you can see the progress, and that's like that hits something in your brain, like literally in your brain, going, "Oh, there's progress. There's something happening here." Right. So like, and then especially so like if you're not recording your games, even in like when you're just jamming sometimes, then yeah, you're not going to see any progress. And the only progress you're going to see is based on did I top a tournament or not. And if that's your only metric for success, you're going to have a bad time, right?
Yes.
Like Zach already mentioned that. Like if all you're doing is sitting there going, "Oh, I didn't top the tournament. I guess this was a bad time." Okay,
Yeah.
but like there's so much more to it than that.
Yeah. I've talked about this with both you guys, but like I think Brandon Sanderson, he wrote, I forget the name of the books, The Way of Kings, I believe, like the Stormlight Archives. Anyway, if you're a nerd and you like fantasy, go check those out. Really good books. But a big theme in those books is journey over destination, and that resonates with me like to the core, and I feel that way in life and in cEDH. Yeah.
This is literally one of the creeds of the. Oh my god, dude! Don't even get me started on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes life so much more meaningful when the path you're walking has like you love the path. Like the path is fun and the path is fulfilling, and then getting to the destination is awesome. You know, like winning the invitational was great and it was super cool and it was like such a huge milestone. But if that was my only goal, I don't think I would have gotten there, and getting it wouldn't have made me happy. You know, it wouldn't have fulfilled me. But the path to get there was so enjoyable and so fun and something I wanted to do all the time that it was a milestone of like winning, you know, like the biggest tournament of my career. It's like that just means I'm doing the right things, and my journey is fitting the destination that I'm going to. Like they're in concert and working together. That's how I think about learning and coaching as well.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm never going to not think of you when I put out my Wave Kings playmat when I go to a tournament.
Yeah, I love that playmat.
Oh, I'm like, oh man, Zach said it. He knew.
Such a banger.
Oh,
So
dude,
good.
It's such a good
The playmat
series.
looks,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
Yeah. There's another guy who had one, and I was like, that's fucking sick. I gotta get one of those. So I just wanted to address some of the things that people kind of struggle with when learning cEDH and when trying to progress. And this is taken both from like my own personal learning and then from what other people have said to me. And I'm curious how you guys relate to all these. I'm going to kind of just shoot them out there, and you can stop me if you want to, or we can just go through the like 5 that I have. So the first one is, I don't know what to focus on. There's too much to learn. We're in an incredibly complex game. There's so many moving parts. There's like a litany of jargon that you don't even think about, like fetching, pushing, shoves, politics, necros, not like all the words we use are nonsense. I've had multiple people who have watched my YouTube video who didn't even know I played Magic, and they're like, it was so cool watching on YouTube, and it sounded like you were speaking Russian. Like none of the words you said made any sense. So for people getting into cEDH, it can be super intimidating to like learn all the stuff that comes with it, and then not only to learn it, but then to get better. The second thing is mulliganing can be super overwhelming, like knowing what to keep, what not to keep, understanding your deck identity, understanding pod composition, seat order, being greedy versus being responsible. That's a whole can of worms. Another thing is getting lost in the meta, changing new lists, chasing new lists, trying different things, always being like, oh, Blue Farm didn't work for me. Maybe I'll try Rogthras. And oh, Rogthras didn't work. Maybe like Sisay will be cool. I personally suffer from this for sure. So like
I think
to decide
right
on
there's
that's hard.
a really good place to like kind of put a pin, because the
Yeah,
first two that
sure.
you mentioned to me, if I was talking about cEDH as like college courses for like a major, right? The first two are kind of like the 101 through 109 classes, right? It's the lower level, like especially the first one. Like I don't know what to focus on. Okay, well there's a hierarchy of learning that you have to learn. Like so, first of all, do you know your deck, right? And I found, in my personal experience of talking to people, I think most people don't. I just don't think they do. And I don't say that as like, I know my deck. I actually don't. Literally, this sparked a conversation with JB earlier this week as I looked at his deck, and I've been not kidding since before the Invitational, being like, I don't feel like the deck is where it's supposed to be. I don't feel like the deck is where it's supposed to be. And I looked at his list one time, and I'm like, damn it, he figured it out. Like, son of a bitch! Like, who the hell is this guy? Like, yeah, like, where have you been this whole time, bro? Like, okay. And so then,
Unable to travel.
yeah. But like, so but like you can see that though. Like, but that's after experience. Like you can see, just look at a list like that and just be like, oh, okay. So like that's like 101 and like 1 through 109, and then like the mulligans in my opinion is the highest part of learning the deck. Right, so learning the deck is like learning your lines, and like that's the most basic of things. Like you can't pilot the deck at the most basic level of learning your lines. That is something you have to learn. Like you have to understand like how to put the pieces into the puzzle. Right, you can't keep putting the square block in the circle hole. Figure that out. Then the mulligans are, this is situational. This is, there's other factors, there's other variables that you have to factor in. So like knowing your deck has 0 variables because everything is controlled by you. Right, like the only thing that's variable is the randomness of your shuffling, but like that's not, but you structured your deck to fix that, right? And then the mulligans is, now you have other people, now you have pod compositions, now you have, where's my seat order, like where's like that all has to factor into your mulligan, because a mulligan at seat 1 does not look the same as a C4 or C2, right? So that's like the next level of in the basics of cEDH. And again, like you said, there's 1,000 things to do. And then you get to what's the meta chasing, right? That is a whole nother ball game, because now you're taking in not just your tournament, you're taking all the data together. And that's that could be an overload of information. Like you're not going to send a kid who does like algebra 1 and be like, why can't you do this trigonometry, bro? Like like I don't know what it is.
Idiot.
Yeah, dummy. It's a try. God, like
try harder.
Yeah, exactly. Like be better. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like that, I think that right there is like you have to get the first 2 down first, at least to a comfortable level with one deck. Because the moment you start going to deck to deck to deck to deck, 99% of people aren't good enough to do that. I'm also one of them. I am not good enough to just bounce from deck to deck to deck and be like, I can be successful everywhere. I'm just not. Some people are. Ian is one of them, right? You're one of them. Like Rune's one of them. Like
Apparently not.
I mean,
After Solo Thrasios.
Switch it immediately.
Okay.
Switches.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, like
Thank
I mean,
you.
what you're trying to do is like, I want you to fight that tank with this stick. Go, and you're like, I can't win. I don't understand. I don't understand why I'm not winning. I poked it so many times. Like I don't understand. Like, but like yeah, like you've placed with so many different decks, right? And you look at all these and you go, oh, a good player can take decks quickly and learn, but they're not constantly chasing, but they know the decks. If you don't know your deck, then it doesn't matter how much you chase, right? Because you're not, or switch, because you're never going to learn the deck.
Agreed.
I think every player, when they come into the format, has their own strengths and weaknesses. I'm not somebody that is really good with like finding a standardized thing that's good for all players. Because Kellen, that's more your background, right? Because you're a teacher, you teacher of teachers, right? And what I'm really good at is like thinking about like individualized learning plans. And so if somebody has certain things where they're like, I love listening to cEDH podcasts and I consume a lot of content, I have a really good understanding of the meta, but I don't understand my place in the meta. I don't know what I want to be doing, and my Magic fundamentals are poor. I would say, okay, well, have you considered trying to improve your fundamentals just for a time, playing more constructed Magic? I think there's a lot of things that cEDH players could benefit from, even if you're new, right, is picking up a constructed deck. It'll teach you so many fundamentals. Like, it'll teach you how to mulligan. It'll teach you your game plan. And there's less variance involved, so you have a better idea of what your deck is doing. And so you have transferable skills in terms of like, okay, well, I know my deck is supposed to do this. I know its meta placement is this. And mulliganing in order to achieve that game plan is easier when you have a lower variance format. Simple as that. And I think as you learn those fundamentals, when you go into cEDH, you're like, okay, now I understand what my deck is supposed to do. I have a better understanding of why I want to do the things that I want to do and how I want to approach the game. And I think there's some times where it requires a lot of trial and error. One of our mutual friends, he's a top Smash player, so shout out to Dave. He said that when you're first choosing your cEDH deck, it's kind of like choosing your fighter in a fighting game. I mean, literally, because we have the commanders, right? So it's like you have to figure out, am I a heavy, or am I more of a control character, or am I more of a aggro and combatives? Like, am I more sort of reactive with my play? Like, sometimes you gotta dip your toe in and test the waters and find out what your strengths and weaknesses are before you can find a path to improvement. At least that's kind of taking things more into the individual perspective from like the collective, what works for everybody, because I can't speak too much into what I think would work for everybody or what standards we should have, but I know quite a good deal about how to make a personalized plan for somebody's learning based on their predispositions and strengths and weaknesses.
That's awesome. Yeah. I say something that is probably not, like people will disagree with me and that's fine, but I think everyone should just play Blue Farm like a little. Just try it. Like having a deck that is the best at everything doesn't have to be your main deck, it doesn't have to be the deck that you play forever, but if that could be a standard you've set for yourself of if this is the best thing anyone can do, from like everyone just agrees like this is the best deck, then I can go and try new decks with fundamentals that I've learned from this and say, okay, this is what Mulligans might have to look like, or this is what pushing for a win might look like. The same is true about a deck like Rogsai. Like my first big tournament win was on Rogsai, and I think I got good at cEDH after playing Rogsai because it taught me that I need to mulligan for plans, and those plans have to happen quickly, and they have to happen compactly and efficiently. And so for me, like playing a bunch of different decks made it so that I could learn a little bit better. And I think for some people, picking one deck and just locking in on that helps them learn a little bit better. But I completely agree with both of what you guys have said in that we need to be focused on not just jumping around and learning new decks all the time, but taking the time to really get into a deck and really understand it fundamentally before you're hopping to something new. And if your mulligans are hard, it's probably because you don't understand how your deck is supposed to win at a core level and really like the back of your hand. And the reason that people like Ian can go and win tournaments on all these other decks is because they've put in their 10,000 hours in the game of cEDH, and they can play it in all these different ways because they can relate their experience from that time playing, whatever decks they were grinding with when they first started into and transpose that into new decks and new ways to play. The other big thing about common struggles that I've heard is people are not reviewing their games and they're just moving on.
That's a fundamental issue. Like,
agreed.
Name me one champion in any competitive anything that doesn't watch film. You can't. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a fundamental thing. You have to review tape. You have to review games. And then it's like when you show work in math, right? Like I'm again relating it to that. If you don't show me your work, I can't tell you where you went wrong. I just know you're wrong, right? Yeah. Like you can't. You have to understand the path to get there.
Yep, just like the blockchain.
It's
all connected. See the path, baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've found too, I think people don't want to review games because sometimes it's an emotional thing. That's kind of what I've learned just watching people. Like after a game, like I'll be like, "Hey, let's debrief. Let's figure out what went wrong here." And then sometimes I'll hit a wall where people just be like, "No, I already threw the game when this, and this happened," or "Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever. I should have done. Move on." And it's like I get it that there's a level of tilt and like regret and like frustration with acknowledging the fact that you made a mistake, but I think the pathway forward is to work through those feelings. I think that just kind of discarding them or just moving on right away isn't a productive way to feel better about the game when similar things happen next time, because you might be okay with like shirking your feelings and moving on right away maybe the first time, but then what happens all of a sudden when the same thing happens again and then you're even more tilted, and so now you have like a salty relationship with the game, and I think we might know some people we've played with that are like that too. Yeah.
I think that like one of the big things there that I think that stems from ego. I feel like a lot of people that play cEDH think they're good because they play cEDH, and it's like there's a difference between being good at cEDH and like you're just playing cEDH. Like my buddy Andy tells it's called forever white belt mentality. Like no matter how good you are, no matter how much you've done, no matter how much anything, if you're not approaching it like a white belt trying to learn from a black belt, then you're probably missing something. And as you said, it's healthy to feel upset with like I did something wrong. Embrace the fact that you did that and be like, I could be upset about that. Don't let that detract from everything else, though. When the moment you start detracting from that, that's when you start regressing. In my opinion, if you're not progressing, you are regressing because people ahead of you are getting farther ahead of you, and people behind you are catching up to you. There's no positive movement for you. So when you're doing this stuff, like you always have to keep thinking, like, look, what can I go and take from this and be better, right? And I'm upset that this happened. I didn't like this happened, and I know the mistake I made. Accept that, and that's the learning moment, you know?
Right.
There's so many people that again, like you just mentioned, that will go like, nah, dude, like that. The reason why I lost is because all these other players are doing the X, Y, Z. I'm like, so you did zero faults the entire tournament?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't do anything wrong? Like, shit, dog. Like, going 0
That's
and 5.
crazy.
Yeah, like going 0 and 5 and
crazy.
0 mistakes is pretty impressive. Like,
Yeah.
that's a win in itself, you know. But like,
Yeah.
you know,
Some would say impossible.
so some would say that. Some would say
Yeah.
that.
Not
like-
me, but yeah.
But like you're so right though, like with these kind of blocks of like accepting that you did something wrong is so taboo in our society. Like admitting you were wrong is like, oh, like that's just not something you wanted to do. And it's like it's okay, man. Like we're not. It's okay.
Yeah, you gotta be hungry, humble, and teachable. You know, you gotta be hungry. You gotta have the desire to get after
my
it and be
bongos
the
for
best you
shit,
can
man?
be.
Like,
What's up?
where's my bongos for these bars that you're spitting right now? My God, shoot, where's the snaps for you? Oh my goodness.
that was from an old mentor of mine who said that to me. Things to look for in people that you're coaching or mentoring. You want hungry, humble, and teachable. And as a master of something, you have to keep these qualities too, because like you said, there's something you're going to be missing if you've got ego stepping in the way of something, or there's going to be something that you're missing if you're not hungry and enjoying the things you're doing and motivated to get after it. And then if you're not teachable, if you're not able to learn new things, then you're going to be stuck in your ways and you're not going to be able to adapt as the meta keeps changing and keeps adapting with like, what is it, 6 standard sets per year now, right? There's so much that's like going on and constantly shifting, and you got to be teachable.
Agreed. Yeah. That kind of dovetails into some of the things that, you know, I've thought about and that I've heard you guys talk about in terms of how to learn in a better way. The first one of these is goal setting. And I don't know if I actually like the word goal setting. I think of it more like growth areas, things that you want to focus on that you'd like to improve on. These could look like how you're reading the table for interaction, or how you're sequencing your plays, or how intentional you are with mulligans, or how you're interacting on the stack. And what this could look like is just keeping track of this in your game. So like, let's say it's intentional mulligans. And each time you mull, you ask yourself the question, is this hand okay? Or is this hand a winning hand? And if it's not a winning hand, you throw it away. And some games you're going to go to 3, and that's okay. And it's okay to go to 3 and you can still win those games. But it's going to make you be more intentional with how you mulligan and thoughtful about what you're keeping. You're not just keeping crappy mid hands that are like, hopefully I'd luck into something good here, but I'm scared to go low. I find a lot of cEDH is pushing the boundary between losing the game and winning the game. And a lot of people will play scared and not push for wins or not push for mulligans that are strong because they're afraid of not playing. That's just another homage to Turbo, which is you're going all in. You're going into the mindset of, I might just lose everything right now. I might, empty my whole hand, casting a Naz, get countered, and be in top deck mode. And that's kind of a scary thing for people to do. But I think you have to try that a little bit and experiment with it before you can actually become really good at the game. Because you have to find that line of flying close to the sun. So what do you guys think about that as a learning method?
I think that one of the big things when you're trying to improve is having a tangible goal that is objective and like it's a simple yes or no question, right? So like let's talk about your mulligan example. Did I keep a hand? Did I mull past 6 to keep a better hand because it wasn't a winning hand? Yes or no? Like if the answer was no, okay, you didn't complete your goal. It's very simple. If you just have things like I want to mulligan better. Okay, what does better mean? Like mulliganing better doesn't mean. It could mean that like, oh, I want to mulligan with more cards in hand. That's technically better, right? More cards is better. But in the reality, that's not actually better. So having a tangible thing that says, this is the goal. I want to mold. I have a plan to win by turn 3. That is the goal I have in my mulligans. And if I'm like, I didn't get that because I had to mold a 3, you still completed a part of that goal because you mulliganed and you mulliganed aggressively. Now you can't check the box and say that you won by turn 3, but it was still progress that you made. That is still growth, right? So you want to set for yourself those goals that are like, they're clear and defined, right?
Yes.
It has to be that to start.
Yep. Same with like something like working out. Like it's like, I want to get in shape.
Yeah.
Great.
Define
Good
in
luck with
shape.
that.
Define in shape, because like you could be talking about like I want to be Brian Shaw level strong. Okay, so you want to deadlift
Yeah.
500 kilos? Like
Mm-hmm.
not gonna happen. Or
Yeah.
I want to be in shape. You want to run a marathon, like a triple marathon? Like also not going to happen. But when you
Yeah.
have goals of like I want to hit the 1400-pound club, now we're
Mhm.
talking. Like now
Yeah.
we can actually like that is a reachable goal, and also be realistic with your goals, right? If you're going in
Yes.
like I've never played in a tournament before, and I want to beat Zach 4 games in a row, like probably not gonna happen, dude. Like sorry, it's just
I don't
not.
know.
It's not gonna happen.
I've heard I'm washed now.
Oh, okay. Like, your days are behind you now. We're in the old
Yeah, I'm
retirement.
done.
But like,
Yeah.
that's another thing is that I actually really had to when I was first starting to grind on tournaments was like I really had to
Mhm.
set my expectations of I assumed I was gonna go in there and clean shop, and I got wrecked my first tournament. I'm like, huh, this is different. Like,
Yeah.
because like in a casual group, I'm like these guys don't ever win games because they're not trying to win games, and then other people tried to win. I was like, oh, it's different, you know?
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah, dang.
There's
we all
good
have this-
players outside of
Yeah,
my casual group.
exactly.
Yeah.
I used
Yeah.
to brag all the time to my casual group, like, we were such a good group in Middle Tennessee, man. We're so good. And then I went to CDH, I'm like, man, we didn't fucking do shit, man. We didn't do nothing. We don't know nothing about Commander. We didn't do shit. But having those tangible goals that are realistic. And also, like, so there's a wrestler named Kyle Dake, and he's talk about like
Yes.
some dude who do you know who he is?
Oh yeah. I mean, I wrestled all through high school, so.
Oh, so you know,
Yeah.
he has
Oh
everything
yeah.
in
I
life,
watched
right?
NCAA wrestling.
Yeah, dude, 4-time national champion, went to Cornell. Okay,
Yes.
sure, whatever, dude. Leave some for the rest of us. But like,
Yeah.
you know, like he says he has goals for daily, bi-weekly, weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, year. And it's like he has so many goals laid out in front of him, and they're all attainable if he actually focuses on them, right?
Yep.
So that you have to do the same thing with your game plans too.
Clear, measurable, concise goals.
Yeah, actually, you guys are making me think of the SMART acronym. Do you guys know what that is?
I've heard of it, but I could not tell you what it was.
Yeah, so it's SMART goals. It's an acronym. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound.
Nice.
So yeah, just have it be something that's specific that you know you need to work on, something that you can measure, something that you can achieve that's relevant to your goal, to your overall goals, the overarching thing, and then time bound, like in a week. Like how does it go for you? I could share an example for me. One of the things that I have a problem with when I'm piloting is I can get a lot of competitive anxiety. So especially if I'm reaching a lot of opposition in my games, and I feel like that's the biggest killer. And if any of you guys have played with me, you know there's times when I'm like bugging out, and you can tell like as I'm getting really fidgety and hey, when I'm getting like that, you know I'm either about to win the game or I'm about to just throw it all. Okay.
Zach looks at him. I think he's pushing. Why?
I think you might be pushing. How would you know?
Yeah.
How would you even know?
He's doing a headstand right now. That's how I know.
Yeah.
Like,
He's vibrating. He's at like 440 megawatts.
Especially when the lines get tight, dude. It's just like,
Yeah.
it can get very overwhelming. And then it happens in the other way too, where if I can't win or if I'm not in a position where I can go for it, I also get kind of anxious if I feel like I'm about to lose to somebody else. So one of the things I've been practicing, for me, a goal I've had, is to keep the game going no matter what. Even in like fun casual games, if I have if I never draw a land, like I just get really unlucky, I will keep the game going and just play, all right, pass the turn, draw, pass the turn, draw, pass, and just keep the game going and force myself to be in that uncomfortable situation so that when I get to a place where I'm still uncomfortable, but it's not as bad as that one game where I had one land all game and almost won. Like, sometimes you still can win those games if you can stay out of the conflict and pit people against each other who are competing for certain resources or positions at the table. So that's an example for me.
That's a great example
SMART
of
goals, yeah.
That's a great example of like what progressive overload is in lifting, right? So like if you're constantly at a point where you're like, I can do this weight easily, and you never increase it, okay, then you're never going to get stronger. Like you can do it as much as you want, but the progressive overload is like you make yourself a little bit more uncomfortable. And it's not by much. Like when I was doing Wendler's, it was like a 5-pound increase every week. And like you think about that, you're like, that's not that much. Like 5 pounds when you're talking about a lot of weight is not a lot. But then when you look back at where you started, you're like, oh my God, that's 35 pounds in like a month. That's huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge
Yeah.
increase. So like purposely putting yourself in situations where you're like, I know I'm not good here, but I will get more comfortable because I am going to get to a point where like I've conditioned myself to that. Like you were just saying, when either I'm going for a win or they're going for a win, I'm nervous. So like
Yeah.
90% of the game, you're nervous.
Yeah.
Like that's a problem, bro. And then but
Yeah.
you keep doing that, and you get more and more comfortable. Also, you play Dargo, bro. Like how do you get nervous with tight lines? Like it's like your game plan. The whole thing is tight lines. And
That's true. So it's an emotional, like, anxiety related issue. It's not necessarily a logic issue. I do think that with just reps and over time, it's gonna get better. But it's more of an autonomic thing. Like I think to some degree, like people get autonomic responses. Like if you your heart gets fluttery or whatever. Like you're in a high stakes situation, you start getting for one reason or another. I don't really do super well in a competitive setting with those feelings. And I was a performer. I did a lot of stage acting, and I did not really have that bad of stage fright. But for some people, when they get the autonomic response of having to perform on stage, they get tremendous anxiety. Even if the response is the same for two individuals, their response to that stimulus will be different. And so even though physically I might not get more nervous than either of you when you're going through your lines, my response to that feeling is different. Does that make sense?
oh yeah, dude, that makes a lot of sense. And it's so interesting that you say that because I'm the opposite of you. Like I get huge stage fright, like massive, and
Mm-hmm.
like you have to find what makes you get that trigger, and like you said, like kind of slowly conditioning yourself to that and slowly get to a point where like I can handle that. But that's so interesting to me that like not only the deck you've chosen but like what you used to do for hobbies is like the epitome of like everyone gets stage fright at some point in their life, and you're like, yeah, dude, I used to do that all the time, no problem. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm so
But
good.
with 3 other nerds,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
shook.
Yeah, sure.
I totally relate to what you're saying, Jared. So as context in the rest of my life, like I said, I did wrestle all throughout high school, and that was intensely scary because you're literally in a one-on-one battle, what feels like for your life, and it's just you and another person out there, and you're physically trying to dominate them. So it really does not get any worse than that, especially when you're doing it in front of a lot of people. And sometimes what they'll do in wrestling meets, I don't know if they do that for you, Kellen, too, but all the lights in the gym will go off, and it's just one big light
yeah.
that comes from the ceiling, and it's just 2 people, and everyone in the stadium or wherever is looking at those 2 people.
Where'd you wrestle at?
In Oregon, at Ashland High School.
Oh, okay.
My claim to fame, I think I placed 3rd in state my senior year, and that was like the highest I got, and I was pretty pumped about it, but I was so ready to be done with
Yeah, dude,
wrestling.
I mean, you should be pumped. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. But wrestling is something where I really had to get over that stage fright, and it happened by just going to a lot of meets, doing a lot of tournaments, and also the big thing was like being comfortable in practice. And my coach was always like, "You will never be as in pain in a match as you are right now in practice," and having that mindset of, like you guys said, progressive overload and this sort of level of uncomfortability makes it so that when you're in games, you're like, oh, wow, my practice partners play way better than these people. Or I've already gone over what it's like to go through a really tight necro line a billion times. So doing it in a game is actually not that hard. And yeah, I think that's extremely important. And then in cEDH, like I was extremely nervous to play in tournaments when I first started. Like I first came to San Diego, and it was some of the first in-person cEDH I'd ever played. And even playing at Rockets on Saturdays with like 5 to 10 local people was scary, and it made me super nervous. And then I just kept playing tournaments, and I got a little more comfortable each time. And then I started, I went to a 60-person tournament, and I was like, okay, this is doable. Like, this is not that bad. And then went to my first, 128-person tournaments and did well at those. And then, the ultimate apex of this was, playing on camera in the finals of the Invitational with, everyone watching, and who I knew everyone would watch the video after. And it was just it was nerve-wracking, but it was also just I'm in the pocket right now, and I've been in that pocket before. And it happens over time.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. I can't think about how large the tournaments are. If I do that, I'll psych myself out. Like 100%. Before every wrestling match, no matter how experienced I was, I got nervous. And before every match in cEDH, I get nervous. Funny, I was just listening to your stuff with Freedom, your interview with Freedom, like literally today, and like the whole not eating all day, 100%. If I eat, I will get sick. Like if I don't know about the whole no sleeping thing. That's a little wild, but like
I don't usually do that.
I actually was
but
watching.
It does happen.
I was watching that shit for actual advice, and you're like, don't sleep, don't eat, and torture yourself. That's how you prep. I'm like, well, this doesn't help me at all, man. Like I already killed myself.
I actually for the NV I did sleep a lot. Like we went to bed pretty early and like I got a lot of good sleep. And I don't recommend not eating to anyone. Like I don't want to preach that because I don't think that's right,
dude. Like
I feel better when I'm clear. Like if I'm not digesting food. I scrubbed
out so hard in Colorado on a deck I was very comfortable with before I went to Dargo, Timna, and it was just because you were there, dude. I was crashing out because like I hadn't eaten anything or slept in like 2 days because I was coming off of flying to Colorado from NorCal the same day. Yeah, it was crazy. So I don't know how you guys do that. Not eat and not sleep. It's nuts.
It is.
That's
wrestling. Yeah, you're like don't eat the whole week, then you gorge yourself to try and like get the calories back, and then or you're just like not eating at all, and you have like I used to just have like an orange before my matches after like cutting weight, and the big part of it is your digestive system just takes a ton of energy from your brain, and I don't feel like I focus as well. Like I get sleepy after I eat a big meal. I take a nap sometimes. Like I'm a big fan of naps. But not during tournament days.
Big fan. Big stuff right there. Hot take. Yeah. Good stuff.
My background's in water polo, and if you don't eat, you die. Like you just lose so many. You're constantly working in the water and stuff, and I felt like if I didn't eat at least a couple hours before, like I was dead in the water, literally.
It's so funny, dude. In high school,
about to drown.
The water polo players would always give shit to the wrestlers, and like our sport's harder. I'm like, you know what, man, you're right. I can't swim to save my life, but how about this? Do a practice, don't eat all day, and they're like, hell no. I'm like, okay, well, perfect. Like, that's what we have to do.
Now you see.
Now you understand.
You get it.
Yeah. So we are about at an hour. As I predicted, I think this is going to be a multi-episode series, as long as you're down to come back, Kellen, and do a couple more with us.
Oh, dude, talking with you? Absolutely, yeah.
Hell yeah. Likewise.
Yeah.
We got through 2.5 out of 9 bullet points.
I just want to say before you wrap things up, I just want to shout both of you out right now. Zach, you're so meticulous in your approach to how you're doing this, and you've shown me what you're doing with coaching as well. I am very excited for the people that you're coaching because it's very clear that you're intentional about what you're trying to do, and you're putting a lot of thought into it. And then JB, again, literally having to shout you out on my primer of I didn't know. I've been playing this deck for 2 freaking years. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. And then I took one look at your list, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? How did he figure this out better than me? What is happening right now? And he literally taught me, this is how the ratios work in your deck. And I'm like, oh. Yeah, I should probably be thinking about this when I play. And literally every Goldfish game I've had since we've had our talk, I'm like, wow, this is so much better than what I had earlier. If this was the deck I brought to the Invitational, then I would have felt a lot better.
You would have beat Zach in top 4.
100%. Yeah,
Triple Blue Farm and Dardu.
Yeah, baby.
They just sit there oh god, look at all these spells on the stack.
Yeah, that's really sweet of you to say. Thank you, Kellen.
Thanks.
It's such a treat to talk to you every single time. Having, our earlier conversation this year about Dargo and just being able to chat for an hour and Goldfish the deck and just see how much you cared about it and just how interested you were in the game and the community. And that's exactly how I feel. I really just want to make this game as good as it can be and help the community as much as we can. Jared and I are about to go on a call right now with Alex Stockwell and Yaw from That's a Good Card to talk about the cEDH California Invitational.
Oh my gosh, you're a busy
so
man.
We're busy. We're real busy.
Shit,
yeah. But like I said, such a pleasure to have you on.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure Jared feels the same.
Absolutely, and just thank you so much for the kind words and being open to considering different points of view and analysis. I'm just kind of freaking out recently because I thought everybody thought about their decks in this fashion, and we're performing these calculations, and I
Absolutely.
Nobody does.
No, literally,
It's like you and Bad Dog.
Yeah, end of
Yeah,
list.
'cause I know.
Literally end of list.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude! Like that's the thing. Like kind of what I was saying earlier about like not knowing your deck. I guarantee I would put a lot of money down that if you asked any of the top players this, maybe 5% of them would say the things that you're saying right about like Dark.
I don't think about that.
Yeah.
Never thought about that.
You
Just,
should.
I don't even
Like,
know what
awesome.
hypergeometric calculation was.
Yeah,
We'll get that
actually-
next time on the next
bet.
session, next episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
exactly. Yeah, Zach just sits there and goes, "I'm just better than you." All right, play the deck.
I just
Like,
copy
everyone's
decklist
like,
from online.
Oh, so good.
Well,
thanks again for
well,
having
this
me,
has been a
guys.
treat. Yeah, thank you for
course.
coming on, and we'll be following up with. I'm guessing this is like a 3 to 4 part series. Maybe it's just like once a month we have Kellen on the show, and that would be like a dream come true. So if you want to do that,
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
that would be awesome. Until then, thank you everyone for watching. Let us know what you liked about this video. Just know it's not complete yet. We'll have parts 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1,000,000 coming out soon. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Can these guys find you guys anywhere? The Dargo Discord, I'm guessing, is a good place to start.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do the Twitters or the Facebooks or anything like that.
Nice.
Same.
So, yeah.
Not yet,
LinkedIns.
anyway.
I'm out on LinkedIn's and then, but yeah, like Discord on the Dargo Discord especially. Like I like to be as active as I can there. We're talking daily on there, but yeah.
Sweet. Hell yeah. All right. Well, until next time, thank you guys. Bye for now.
you.
Later.
Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you want to win a free deck just like these people did from their comment on last week's video, all you have to do is be a subscriber and comment what you're going to take away from this video and bring into your game. Make sure to join the Dargo Discord and follow me on Twitter to see more bite-sized takes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.